This morning we're finishing up our series on the primeval history in the book of Genesis, Genesis 1 through 11. Today we're looking at Genesis 11, and it'll be fun. It's a really fun passage I'm excited about here. So Genesis 11, 1 through 9. Now the whole earth had one language and the same words. And as they migrated from the east, they came upon a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. And they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone and bitumen for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves. Otherwise we shall be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." Then the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which mortals had built. And the Lord said, "Look, they are one people, and they have all one language. And this is only the beginning of what they will do. Nothing that they purpose to do will now be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language there, so that they will not understand one another's speech." So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off the building of the city. Therefore it was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth. And from there the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of all the earth. The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of our Lord stands forever. Let us pray. Come now, Lord, in power and come in might, and may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be holy and acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Has anyone here ever pulled a prank before? Any prank pullers in here? No one's raising their hand. Of course you. I mean, we know. Anybody back there pranks? Okay, a few honest people. I used to pull pranks a lot, and especially I had pranks pulled on me. We used to go like to Pizza Inn for those ASO soccer banquets where you get the whole team after the season, you get your participation trophies. And so basically you have a group of 15, 10-year-olds in this big buffet line, and so something's going to happen. And tell me this has ever happened to you before. You go up to get more pizza, and somebody puts like a whole bunch of sugar or red pepper flakes or something in your drink, and you come back and it's just nasty. That one's not too bad. Or you come back and you sit down and somebody pulls your seat out from under you and you fall. Anybody ever had that happen? Or you pour some salt on your french fries, but somebody loosens the cap and you know, once that happens to you a couple times, you learn to really be careful. What's that old saying? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, all that. Well, after a while, you start to really get nervous, so you come back, you kind of hold your seat when you sit down. You always check the salt shaker. You kind of test your drink a little bit to make sure it wasn't messed with at all, because you don't want it to happen again. Well, me and my friend Davey, he was my best friend in high school and junior high and elementary school. And I used to go over to his house a lot. And he had a younger brother, Jonathan, who used to have to kind of take care of sometimes. We were like babysitters, except for we weren't paid and we were much cooler than the Babysitters Club. And we tried to teach him like to play professional baseball so we could eventually one day be his agent and make lots of money. So far that hasn't worked out. He stopped playing, but that was our plan early on. Well, in the summers, it would just be us, and we decided one evening when we could drive, we were going to take him to Pizza Inn, and we were going to have a nice buffet. And no, we didn't do anything to his food or his drink or his salt, and with all that. But afterwards, see, the Pizza Inn is right across from this cemetery, this big cemetery. And we said, "Jonathan, we want to go to the cemetery after dinner. There's this great big stone tower there, and underneath it, there's this pond with all these awesome fish. Let's go." So we drive, and we park near the stone tower. Come on, Jonathan. And we walk up, and we're looking at the fish, like, "Look there." And then Dave and I look at each other, and we sprint back to the car, jump in, and drive off, leaving him in the cemetery. Now, before you think we're too horrible, we only drove around the loop for a little bit, and we came back. He was by himself for like 2 minutes, but he was rather upset at this point because it was getting dark, and it was near Halloween, and he was really, really scared and crying and upset. And after that, he just refused to go with us anywhere again. We were like, "Come on, we're going to go to Pizza." "I'm not going, I'm going to leave in the cemetery." And he just would not go with us anywhere. He would not trust us for his life. Now, the story today is about the Tower of Babel. You might have heard it before. And we hear a lot in sermons and in teachings, and there's a lot of different interpretations of it. One of the more common ones is that the people were trying to become gods unto themselves, were trying to be better than they were. It's the issue of pride and self-importance. We're going to build this tower in the heavens and we're going to be like gods. Others have said that it's an issue of obedience, that God said to spread across the earth and multiply, and they wanted to stay in one spot. And so they disobeyed God. That's another common interpretation. And those both are important issues to address. The issue of pride and the issue of obedience. But I think there's another issue here that's at work in this text. And last week I talked about midrash, where the Jews would look at these little words in Scripture and come up with this whole interpretations with creativity around it. So today we're going to try a little of that with this story. I've never seen this anywhere else, so it might be completely wrong, but maybe not. So we're going to look at it. I think there's another issue in the story of trust. I think the people in the story didn't trust God anymore. And I wonder, can we really blame them, though? I mean, this is Genesis chapter 11. And right before this, in chapter 7 and 8, what happens? The flood story we looked at last week. God destroyed the world with the flood. God decided to start over, redeem the world, because the people were so wicked that the flood destroyed everything but one family and 2 of every animal. And so there might be some issues there of, that's a little scary. You know, catastrophic, life-destroying floods tend to stick in people's minds a lot longer than 4 chapters. In chapter 9, God makes the covenant of the rainbow, promising never to destroy the earth that way again. But chapters in 7 and 8 are still hard to forget. God destroyed the people with the flood. And then you have chapter 10. Everybody grab a pew Bible. We're going to actually look at the Bible here. Look at chapter 10. It's on page something. Probably early on, like 9. The big Bible is page 9. It's an early page. Genesis chapter 10. I won't make anybody read this. If you really want to get somebody and have them read Genesis chapter 10. I'll read a little bit. These are the descendants of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and children were born to them after the flood. The descendants of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tiras. The descendants of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah, and so on and so on. There's a whole lot of names. There's Nimrod, and Sheba, Rama, Sabteka, Rezin. All these names after names after names. How often have you heard somebody preach on Genesis 10? Anybody ever heard a good sermon on Genesis 10? There's probably one out there. There's a whole lot of names, though. People tend to skip over Genesis 10. We go from Genesis 9, rainbow and happy to promise, to Genesis 11, Tower of Babel. But the memory of the flood still sticks in people's minds. And we're going to come back to Genesis chapter 10 in a little bit, so just kind of hold that place in your Bible. Genesis chapter 11, people are still remembering 7 and 8. You know, last week was the anniversary of 9/11. It's been about 9 years since then, I think. You could say for the country, for the most part, has gotten back to normal, but the memory isn't completely gone, is it? You can't help but think of it before you board a plane. Security is still tighter, and certain things will never be allowed on airplanes again because we don't want a repeat of those terrible events. At even the slightest hint of a terrorist attack, security cracks down. Suddenly water bottles are not allowed on the airplanes, gels or anything that could possibly be used as an explosive. We don't want to be attacked the same way twice, so we changed how we do things. Not that we expect it will happen again in the exact same way, but just in case, just to be safe. We move on, but we don't totally forget. Fool me once. The people in Genesis 11 are nomadic, moving around in their tents until they come across a plain in the land of Shinar. It must have been picturesque. Nestled between 2 great rivers, ample vegetation to gather, fields for the cattle to graze in, they might have thought it was a perfect place to live. So these nomadic descendants of Noah settled there. And I'm not sure how long they had lived there, maybe a few days, maybe even a few weeks, but eventually someone noticed their perfect place wasn't so perfect. One of them, we'll call him Ronnie, says, hey guys. Yeah, Ronnie, what is it? Have you noticed the land here is pretty flat? Yes, Ronnie, it's a great place to raise cattle. I know that, Fred, but we're pretty close to